like I said, trinomials, we have three terms and they're quadratic functions. So we have x squared plus x plus some constant number. Okay, so here, how do we know how to solve this when we multiply? What method are we using? FOIL. So let's do it. We have x times x, which is x squared. And then we take x times 4, 4x. And then we have 3 times x, 3x. And then we have 3 times 4, which is 12. Okay, and then how would we simplify this? Combine like terms. So we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. Now, making connections to factoring trinomials, this is what that looks like. We have x squared. What did we add up to get 7? 3 and 4, so we had 4 plus 3x. What did we multiply to get 12? 4 and 3. So we had two numbers that added up to give us 7 and multiply to give us 4. So when we factor this trinomial here, it factors to those two polynomials together. Okay, so in our bell ringer, we talked about two numbers that add up to a number and multiply to give us another number. Okay, so in our trinomial form, they add up to the middle number and they multiply to give us our constant number. Okay, so that's how we got x plus 3 and x plus 4. Where do the x's come from? Why is x involved?
X just wanted to be there.
X wanted to be there, but we have this x squared. So what makes x squared? X times x. So that's where we get these two x's from. Okay, so the two x's come from our x squared, and then we want numbers that add up to 7 and multiply to give us 12. Okay, so it's always going to be x in a number times x in a number when you factor trinomials. Okay, so let's just go right into an example. Okay, if I have x squared plus 6x plus 8, okay, what do I want my numbers to add up to? I want to add up to 6, so I'm just going to put a little addition sign above there for now. I want to add up to 6. What do I want to multiply to? I want to multiply to get 8. Okay, so we're adding to get 6, multiplying to get 8. What are those two numbers? We said 2 and 4 earlier. I'm going to write these off to the side. Okay, do I have to change any of these numbers? What I mean by that is make them negative to make either one of these true, or can they both stay positive? So 4 times 2 gives us 8. Does 2 plus 4 give us 6? Yeah, so I don't have to change any to a negative. Okay, so to write this, we're going to have x plus 2 and x plus 4. That's my answer. Okay, so once you have your two factors, you just put them into this form. Okay, how can I check if I did it correctly? Distribute, FOIL it back out to get this. Okay, so you're always going to add up to your middle number and multiply to get your last number. Okay, sometimes it'll take some trial and error to get used to it. Okay, questions so far? We just need to do some practice ones. Okay, try this one. Does anybody have factors that add up to 9 and multiply to give you 20? It is 5 and 4. Okay, does everyone agree? Do we have to change either one to be negative to make the statement true? No, they're fine positive, so how do we write our answer?
X plus 4 and x plus 4.
Yep. Good. Good question. It does not matter if you wrote x plus 5 first and x plus 4, because if you FOIL it out, you will still get your same trinomial in the beginning. Okay. So not all of them are going to be as nice. What I mean by that is not all of them are just going to be positive. Okay, so let's look at this example. We have x squared minus 8x plus 12. What's different? There's a negative in there, okay? So we have negative 8 and positive 12. We want numbers that still add up to negative 8 and multiply to give us 12. Go ahead and I'll let you think about it for a second. Okay, first of all, what numbers did you guys choose? 6 and 2. But can we leave both of them positive? No, because checking, does 6 times 2 give us 12? Yes, but does 6 plus 2 give us negative 8? No. So how do we fix it? Why do they both have to be negative?
Because if you only make one negative, then if you multiply,
You would get a negative. So in order to get this positive here and to get it to negative 8, we have to make both of these negative. So negative 6 times negative 2 is positive 12. Good, check. Negative 6 plus a negative 2, does that give us negative 8? Yes. Okay, so how would I write my final answer in factored form? X minus 6 and x minus 2. Or if you flip-flopped them, that's okay. Okay. So you can't automatically just put 6 and 2. You have to make sure the statement is true when you put them in. Okay. Questions on that example there? So let's FOIL it back out to make sure we match what we have here. So we have x times x, x to the second, and then we have x times negative 2x. Sorry, I just told you what the answer was. Negative 2x, negative 6 times x, negative 6x, negative 6 times negative 2. Positive 12, right? And then what's my last step to simplify? Combine like terms, so we get what? Negative 8x plus 12. Do they match? Yes. So that is a good way to check yourself if they match. Okay? If they don't match, okay, chances are you have the right numbers, they just don't have the right sign in front of them. Okay? Good questions. All right, I have a couple more I want to look at. All right, what number did you guys decide? 3 and 5? Was there any other ones? Does everyone agree with 3 and 5? Okay. Can we leave them as 3 and 5? No. How many of them have to be negative? Only one of them, right? How can I figure that out? How many can I determine have to be negative? Because whatever you're multiplying to is negative, so I know one of them has to be negative, because positive times a negative gives us a negative, plus you. Okay? Now, we have to ask ourselves which one? 3, because 5 plus a negative 3, or 5 minus 3, gives us a positive 2. Okay, so how would I write my answer in factored form? Yep. Now I'm going to tag on that equals 0 part. Okay, so factoring is the same. Now we're actually going to solve it. Ideas. So when we solve, what are we trying to do? Get x by itself, right? Find the value of x. Okay? Good idea, but if we FOILed, we would get back to here, right? Good idea.
I was going to say, like, subtract 5 and add 3 pieces.
Yep. We're going to take these both separately and set them equal to 0 as their own things. Okay? So I'm going to take x minus 3 equal to 0. And I'm going to take x plus 5 equal to 0. Now they're simple one-step problems, right? On the left one, x minus 3, how do I get x by itself? Add 3. So what do I get for my x value?
3.
X equals 3. What do I do on the x plus 5? Subtract 5. So we have x equals negative 5. So on these problems, you're going to have 2 answers. Okay? What we're going to learn as you move on through Algebra 2, okay, the amount of answers that you have determines on the number of highest degree. Okay, so our highest degree was 2. How many answers do we have? 2. Okay, so highest degree is 2. We had 2 answers. Okay, so when you're solving, when it tells you to solve and it has equal to some number, you want that number to be 0. Okay, so then you can solve it like this. So when you have it equal to 0, you factor and then solve setting it equal to 0. Okay, so if I have a problem like this, what's wrong with this one? I want to solve this, but can I solve it right now? Why not?
You don't have a number to multiply.
Right, we don't have a number to multiply.
Not a trinomial.
Okay, and it's not equal to what? It's not equal to 0. We want it equal to 0. How can I make this equal to 0?
Subtract 27.
Yep, we want that number here to multiply. So I'm going to subtract 27 on both sides. Okay, so if I subtract 27, we have x squared minus 6x minus 27 equal to 0. Now is it in a form where we can factor and solve? Yes. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try that one. Okay, does everyone at least have the 2 numbers that we're working with? What are 2 numbers that add up to -6 and multiply to give you -7? Just give me the 2 positive numbers. 3 and 9. Okay, I agree. But can they both be positive? No. How many do we have to turn negative? One of them needs to be negative because of this -27. Okay, but which one? What? You think the 3 needs to be negative?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay, let's do this. If I take 9 minus 3, what does that give me? That gives me a positive 6, right? But we want -6, so which one needs to be negative? The 9. So if I take 3 minus 9, does that give me my -6? Yes. So checking in that form will help before you put it in your factored form. I saw some of us trying to figure it out while we had it in factored form. Figure it out with just both of them by themselves first. Okay? And now once I have my 2 numbers, what do I do with those? How do I write them?
Plus 3. Oh.
X plus 3x
Minus 9.
minus 9. What do I have to remember we still have?
0.
Equals 0. Now how do I solve this?
X plus 3 equals 2.
Yep. Set both of them separately equal to 0. And then 1-step algebra, what do I do on the left?
Minus subtract 3.
Subtract 3. So we have x equals -3. What do I do on the right?
Add 9.
Add 9. So we have x equals 9. Okay, how many answers should I have on all of these? 2. Okay. Any questions so far on day 1 of factoring trinomials?